On the quiet morning of March 18, 2023, the residents of Maple Grove, a suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of Houston, Texas, awoke to news that would ripple through the community like a tremor. Miriam Cross, a 38-year-old single mother of two young daughters, failed to return home after a night out, a rare moment of escape she had planned for weeks. Her daughters, 14-year-old Ava and 9-year-old Lily, were the first to notice something was wrong. Miriam had never spent a night away from them without arranging care. But this time, the girls woke up to a cold house, an unanswered phone, and no sign of their mother. Ava, mature beyond her years, called 911. To those who knew her, Miriam was a pillar of quiet strength, raising her daughters alone after escaping an abusive marriage, working two jobs, a school secretary by day and a waitress by night, and still managing to volunteer at Lily's school. She was always smiling, always polite. Nobody suspected anything out of the ordinary. Detectives first assumed a random act of violence, perhaps a mugging gone wrong. Her car, a silver Honda Civic, was found abandoned at a gas station 2 miles from her last known location, a popular downtown lounge where she'd gone to meet a friend. Her phone was found shattered beneath the driver's seat. The CCTV at the gas station had mysteriously malfunctioned. There were no immediate suspects. No one saw anything. The police treated it as a potential abduction. As detectives delved deeper into Miriam's life, cracks began to appear in her perfect image. First, there was her phone record. Multiple calls in the past few weeks to an unknown number registered to a burner phone. Then, a second, secret bank account was discovered, one that had received periodic transfers from an offshore account under the name of Phoenix Holdings. It was Ava who, tearfully, gave detectives the first true clue. Mom was seeing someone. She didn't tell us who. Just said he wasn't safe. It turned out Miriam had been in a relationship with a man named Raymond Ray Keene, a local businessman with alleged ties to a private security firm under federal investigation. She had met him while serving him at the restaurant where she worked. Their relationship, kept secret, had reportedly turned sour just weeks before her disappearance. 10 days into the investigation, a break came. A homeless man reported hearing screaming near an abandoned house on Briar Road the night Miriam vanished. Police searched the property and found a shallow grave behind the shed. Inside were blood-stained sheets, a woman's scarf, and strands of dark brown hair, later confirmed to be Miriam's through DNA. But no body. What investigators did find hidden in the attic of the house changed the entire trajectory of the case. A box of photographs and letters. The letters were written by Miriam, but not to Ray. They were addressed to a man named Chris. The tone was fearful, pleading, and sometimes angry. One letter read, "You said you'd leave me alone. I moved, I changed numbers. I told you never to come near my girls. If you hurt them, I swear to God." Chris Thorne was Miriam's ex-husband. He had been arrested 7 years earlier for domestic abuse, but had vanished after skipping bail. Miriam had changed her last name and relocated with her daughters. She thought she had left him behind. But investigators discovered that Chris had resurfaced under a new identity, Christian Miles Star. And he lived just 20 miles outside of Maple Grove. When police raided his rural property, what they found horrified them. Surveillance photos of Miriam, notebooks filled with detailed logs of her routine, her daughter's schedules, and even her internet searches. In the basement was a small, soundproofed room, with rope and duct tape still on the floor. But no Miriam. Chris confessed to kidnapping Miriam. He claimed he wanted to bring the family back together. But something didn't add up. He was smug, unshaken. He insisted he had let her go. Then came the second twist. Miriam wasn't dead. 3 weeks after her disappearance, a call came in from a hospital in New Mexico. A woman had been found unconscious at a roadside diner, severely dehydrated, bruised, and disoriented. It was Miriam. Through broken speech and tears, she recounted her escape. Chris had kept her tied in the basement for days, feeding her only water and stale crackers. But he'd made one mistake. He forgot to relock the secondary door after a visit upstairs. On the night of her escape, Miriam slipped out while he was sleeping, stole a truck parked on the property, and drove aimlessly until it broke down outside Albuquerque. The neighborhood that once whispered about a possible lover's quarrel was now reeling from the truth. They had lived next to a woman who had survived years of abuse, fled across states, and still couldn't escape her past. Ray Keene, though initially suspected, was cleared, though his dealings remained under investigation for unrelated charges. Miriam's secret dealings with offshore money were explained. She had been saving money secretly from her ex-husband, worried he'd somehow try to claim legal rights over their daughters through custody battles. Chris Thorne was charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, and attempted murder. He awaits trial. Today, Miriam lives under a new name once again. She has moved to a private location, and her daughters are in therapy, working through the trauma. Ava, now 15, says she wants to become a criminal psychologist. "I want to help people like my mom," she says, "so no one has to be hunted like that ever again." Miriam never returned to Maple Grove. But the shadow she left behind still lingers, an echo of the fragile line between safety and terror, between love and control, and between the secrets we bury and the ones that come back to find us. "Even when you run," Miriam once said to the press during her brief appearance in court, "you can never outrun evil. But you can survive it. You can outlive it. And sometimes you can drag it into the light."